David here with Figboot on Pens. Today I have a quick notebook review for you. The notebook I'll be showing you today is from a company by the name of Elia Note. The company is based out of Malaysia and was founded by a woman by the name of Olivia, who reached out to me a while back to see if I had any interest in taking a look at her notebooks, and I told her that I did. Olivia started her business because of her love for fountain pens. For the longest time, she never found the perfect paper to match her writing style and tastes until she tried out a Tomoe River journal. She fell in love with the paper and wanted to do everything she could to make the paper even more well-known beyond the fountain pen community. So, in order to take a closer look at this notebook, please join me over here at camera 2. The notebook arrives in this hardcover. This is the company logo and the company name Elia Note. Appropriately enough, this is an olive tree. The founder's name, Olivia, is derived from the word olive, and Elia is the Greek word for olive as well. And these manufacturers, just for information, are manufactured in Japan. So you pull it out. And here is the notebook. I will say it is a little bit plain on the outside, very nondescript. This is an A5 size, and this notebook has 496 pages of 52-gram Tomoe River paper and a soft cover. There are 3 different lining options. There is dot, line, and blank, and each of these options come in a different color. The dot grid has a black cover, the blank has a white cover, which leaves this lined paper with the dark maroon cover. The paper for these notebooks are Smith sewn, and what that means is there is a bunch of little sections here bound together in order to make this larger notebook. Each of these little sections is called a signature. The benefit of this binding style is that you are able to very easily lay this notebook flat. Now, when you open it, the binding isn't completely flat. It has a little bit of a curve to it, but the front and back covers rest very nicely on the table. There are many larger notebooks out there where it can be a bit cumbersome to use the first few pages and the last few pages simply because it's a burden to do so. You feel like you're kind of fighting with the book in order to get it to a position where you can comfortably write, but this notebook doesn't have that issue. Now, 52-gram Tomoe River paper is pretty much my favorite paper to use. It's not perfect, but I love the feel of it. It just feels cool. Here at the beginning of the book, you can see here where I started to write my Gold Spot Holiday Gift Guide. If you would care to see the suggestions from a number of bloggers and pen reviewers, you might want to head over to the Gold Spot channel to check that out. And I used this pen, or the pen that I used in order to do this portion of the review is the one that I reviewed last week, which is this Faber-Castell Anello, which is a very cool pen with a very nice nib. And then the ink that I used on this was the Faber-Castell Carbon Black, which is a very nice solid black. And you can see here that there is a bit of ghosting on the page. That is due to the paper being a little bit thin, and that's not just this notebook, it's the paper. But you can see here that there is no bleed through whatsoever. And when I started writing on both sides of the paper, there's no issues at all with having that ghosting cause an issue on the opposite side of the page. Then I moved on to my review of the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, and I used that pen to write that review, and I used the Leonardo Purple ink. You can actually see here where I was drinking something, and that the condensation kind of spilt here, and I wouldn't categorize the Leonardo ink as waterproof or even water resistant, but it is a nice ink. I like the color, and it performs well. Over here, I laid down some swabs of a few different types of ink. This first one here is an ink by KWZ that I'll be reviewing here in the somewhat near future, and that is their Sheen machine. First of all, that is just a cool name for an ink, and it is indeed a Sheen machine. This blue has a very strong reddish sheen to it. I know it can be kind of tough to see on camera, but oh, there we go. There you can kind of see the sheen here. It is one of those inks that is virtually all sheen, and it shows up very nicely on this paper. Then next to it, we have something from the Diamine Inkvent calendar. This is Snowstorm, and again, it might be tough to catch the shimmer on this page, but this is a shimmer ink. It is one of the inks for December. I think it was early on in the month, like the 3rd or the 4th, and it is part of the Diamine Inkvent calendar. If you would care to learn a little bit more about the Diamine Inkvent calendar, you can check out my review from a couple of weeks ago. It's a little bit late to find them this year, but it might give you an idea if you'd like to purchase one next year. It's one of those things that you have to jump on when they're first available, or else you'll miss out because they sell out rather quickly. Okay, next up is an ink from Troublemaker, and this is the ink right here. I like these Troublemaker bottles, and it's called Abalone. It does feel like it does a very good job of capturing what the inside of an abalone shell looks like, with some nice blues and then a decent amount of kind of reddish sheen. Let's see if I can catch some of that, but it's a little bit hard there, but it has a bit of a reddish sheen, especially at the top, and it looks very much like some mother of pearl. Then, finally, right here, we have Van Ness Good Evening. This is a new ink from Van Ness created in conjunction with the artist Joey Feldman. It is meant to be a tribute to the limited edition Mont Blanc Hitchcock ink, which is now very hard, if not almost impossible, to come by. The label here is Joey's take on the famous profile picture of Alfred Hitchcock. And here is Joey and I in his Los Angeles studio with our Mont Blanc Hitchcock pens striking the same pose. Okay, one more ink test here. I thought this would be interesting. This is the Platinum Cassius Black. This is an ink which goes onto the page rather light and then darkens significantly as it dries. This is an iron gall ink. So the color that you see here will actually oxidize over time to nearly a solid black. So what I'm going to do here is do a bit of a swab so you can kind of see in real time how it darkens up. But you can see here as it dries, it gets a little bit darker in just a few moments. If you do use an iron gall ink, I would recommend not leaving it sit in a pen for a long time. If the ink sits in a pen for a long time, corrosion can occur, especially with pens with stainless steel nibs. Now, nibs made of precious metals like gold and platinum and titanium or palladium and things like that are generally resistant to the corrosion, but you never know. Better to be safe than to ruin a pen. So iron gall inks are safe to use. You just need to make sure that you don't leave a pen inked up with one of those inks for a long time. But you can see already it's significantly darker than when we started. Something else that's available from the Elia Note site are these leather notebook covers. This is exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to a cover. First of all, it's thin. I'm not too much into big, bulky, or puffy covers. Nothing wrong with them. It's just not my thing. I'm always putting things in and out of my bag for work, and I need things to take up as little space as possible. So this cover is constructed in a way that is very nice for me to use. It's also constructed in a way with these flaps, so it's very easy to put in and out of, or put on this notebook. So it goes on this way and then goes in here. I need that page in here. And once it's in here, the notebook is secure. It's not going anywhere. But there is enough play on the sides where the cover can kind of move in around a little bit, which doesn't restrict the notebook from lying flat. It's a very nice design. The notebooks are available through the Elia Note website and retail for just under $30. With the conversion rate, it's about $28.70 right now. The price for these leather covers can vary slightly depending on the color, but range from $40 to $47.50. So there you have the Elia Note notebook and leather cover. Thanks again go out to Olivia for sending this notebook for review. There will be a link in the notes below where you can check out these products on the company's site. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.